Hello everyone, I am the owner of Rosetta Games. I recently switched from Unity to Unreal, so I've been working on making projects to demonstrate what I've been learning and what I'm capable of. So let's get started. I've created a first-person shooter game with single zombies. These are about to change, so let's get into it. Alright, so I want to start by saying that none of the animations or assets are technically mine. They're all stuff from the library marketplace. So I have the ability for them to follow me, attack me, as well as sound. I can shoot them. I also have, when I press I, an inventory that's currently empty. So when I look at it and I press E, I can pick that up and that will give me an item. Let me get some more damage. Health also works. Now, each enemy also comes with its own armor, name, and level. So depending upon the level, depends on how strong they hit me, as well as how much damage they take. I decided to add the lighting effect just because I thought it would be something cool, for how strong the enemies actually were. And you notice these guys are going to hit quite a bit harder. So that's everything in terms of game-wise. So I'm just going to show you some of the scripts. And let's just make this a bit bigger. Alright, so more or less I pretty much have the main player script as the first-person controller, and then the zombie script. So let's take a quick look at what the zombie script has to offer. Alright, so I just use apply damage to a custom to give that. I scale the size of the zombie equal to the level. Set info location in-game, so this basically just sets where everything is going to be located on the enemy. Because if the level changes, then I needed to be able to adjust the health bar and information on the enemy at a certain height, so that way when they die, their name doesn't go in the ground or it's not too high up. Range logic, so this is basically if the player is within range of the enemy, which I have here as designated by the sphere. And this just hides whether that information is visible or not, because I have the UI follow the player and chase the player. So I figure there's no reason on actually showing the UI if we're not actually using it. This basically adjusts the material on the zombie, and then it assigns a color value for the glow to the zombie according to its level. And this can go as high as I want. I can have any type of color that I want. And that's just a part of that. Updated health at start, so this just makes sure that the current health is set to the max health. Increased damage based on level, so the damage scales with the level. Update armor at start, so this just updates the armor based on the level. We did that. Receive damage, so if the player does damage to the enemy, we check to see if the enemy is within range. We check to see if the enemy is in combat mode, and then we cast to that particular zombie. We see if it's the zombie that we're fighting. If it is, then we assign the current health and we assign damage equal to that zombie. So we just make sure we're hitting the right zombie. This gets into if it dies, If it dies, then we set the location of the health bar and information, and we will hide the health bar so that way it just displays its name. And then we make it so we can actually walk through the zombie by setting it to pawn and ignore. And that just hides the health part. The update name and level, this just makes it so that at the very start I can assign them whatever name and level I want, and then it will update everything else based on that. UI follow character, so this basically makes it so that way the health can actually always look towards the player. Chase player, I use AI move to, and this is a, get in here, character type of actor. So that's how close it can get. If there's no target, then it just looks at itself, so it otherwise pretty much stops. I use delay, so this is always checking to see if it's in the boundaries up here for the Ren logic. If it is in the boundaries, then it will constantly chase the player. If not, then it will stop chasing. And more or less, we give damage based off of the notify begin, and we play sound at that location when we do damage. The interaction, so I do everything through interaction, so I use a line traced by channel on the player, and I use that to know whether I'm interacting with the zombie or not. So this particular part talks about adding inventory to the player. So if I interact with the zombie, then I can turn it into an item, play a sound, and then destroy the enemy afterwards. So then if I look at the first person character blueprint, all I did basically was find a gun, stick it on there, and have it play a montage for the gun firing. So for this, I have where the player can receive damage from the enemy. This just sets the percentage of the health bar. Based off of the health bar, damage received equals 0. I get all actors of the zombie class. And I basically add an impulse, so if the zombie hits me, then I can actually move backwards when it hits me. I haven't set anything for if the health reaches 0. I just put a condition there for the future because that was something I was eventually going to add. The event start, this is where I create my widget, such as the X, and being able to have a target to look at. The event tick, I have the ray cast, or in other words, the line cast down below, and the health maximums, making sure my health doesn't go up to infinity by picking up health potions. Left mouse fire, I'm just mouse is down. If so, then I can have the ability to do damage. If I'm doing damage, then if that's true, then I check to see if my fire rate has gone through. If so, I create the sound at the location of the player. I apply damage to whatever I'm shooting at, which would be the hit actor variable. I play the montage of the rifle actually shooting, and then I deal damage. Again, so it just repeats in a loop. The ray cast, gain location of the player from the camera to the target using visibility, draw debug type none. Just for simplicity, I call these blue line, red line, so I can use them later on. So I just break into this, and I use the hit actor. Does implement interface, so basically if I'm looking at an object and the object wants to be interacted with, then I move on to everything else up here. So if I'm looking at the zombie, then I want to show health item. Well, this is technically looking at the pickup item. So if I'm looking at an item that I can pick up, which would be the health item, then I have it changed to health item. If I am wanting to look at nothing, then it would be X. E to interact with objects. This is just part of the interface. So if the object, I look at all objects that I am overlapping, and then if the object is interactable, then I can do stuff with it. And then I check to make sure that the object that I'm hitting is, the object that I want to hit with the hit actor, and then I interact with it. That's pretty much everything for the first person code. I didn't touch anything for the camera input, movement input, or jump input. And that's basically the entire project in a nutshell. All right, thanks for watching.